Good morning. I apologize for the makeshift venue here, but the auditorium was booked. But we like to keep Christmas in our hearts all year round here at the RPD, so we'll make do. We're here this morning to do a wrap-up of the year 2022 and also to make everyone aware of our goals and objectives for 2023 moving forward. And let's be honest, to get up here and try and summarize the year 2022 in 10, 15 minutes, a couple sound bites, it's a daunting task when you think about everything our community went through in 2022. 76 lives lost to violence, including Officer Anthony Mazurkowicz, who tragically was killed in the line of duty. But for 2022, we started the year and we strived to re-engage with our community while at the same time targeting the most violent offenders, those that prey on our streets. Focusing our efforts using evidence-based, data-driven police work. The days of displacing crime through saturation patrols in the city of Rochester are over. With the ROC initiative, we began unprecedented coordination and cooperation with our law enforcement partners, including the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, the New York State Police, Parole, Probation, the ATF, the U.S. Marshal's Office, the DEA, the FBI, the Monroe County District Attorney's Office, and the United States Attorney's Office. There was a 15% decrease in firearm-related violence in the last quarter of 2022. And although I cannot take credit, I can tell you this coincides with when our federal partners were able to hold those that we arrested in pretrial detention. Because think about it, if you have someone on the streets with an illegal gun, they're not committing one crime, they're committing multiple crimes. So when you arrest them and they're out the next day, they're going to get another gun and they're going to continue preying on the community. Pretrial detention is the key that our federal partners were able to give to us, and we detained well over 50 individuals. And I think that speaks for itself about what you saw for the drop in violence. The investigations we conducted with our partners into these violent offenders included the multi-agency efforts and the long-term investigation into the distribution networks of Brandon Washington, Rasheem Sullivan, and others. Their networks were flooding the streets with illegal drugs. The resulting feuds between them caused unprecedented violence in our city, directly relating to more than one murder. Our Special Investigations Section and their partners served over 180 search warrants, arrested almost 200 people, seized 19 kilos of cocaine and almost 4 kilos of heroin and fentanyl, well over 200 pounds of marijuana and 124 firearms in those investigations. Additionally, as a result of the hard work and men of the Rochester Police Department, we recovered 821 firearms from our streets, including 58 ghost guns. Now, those of you that are fans of numbers may look back and see that we actually had a few hundred more guns recovered in 2021. In 2021, we were able to do a gun buyback that directly affected our numbers for 2022, but we are planning with our partners to have at least one gun buyback event in the year 2023. Shooting victims, while still unacceptably high, have dropped from 419 in 2021 to 351 in 2022. Murder victims dropped slightly from 84 to 76. Of those 76 murders, our major crimes unit is closed, 44 of them, with several more expected to be closed in the very near future. But let's be honest, if we solved all of these murders, we cannot get those lives back. Almost all of our murders stem from violent, retaliatory disputes. People who have some kind of a relationship with each other became involved in some kind of conflict, and then instead of using words, turned to violence to settle their dispute. Internally in 2022, also brought some changes. It was the beginning of our wellness unit. This unit is designed to assist all our members with maintaining and improving their physical, mental, and emotional health. The unit has experienced some growing pains, as all new things will, but as it grows and develops, we will continue to adjust their function in order to best serve our officers and their families. We also began a pilot program with our call reduction unit, or 311 unit. Less emergent 911 and 311 calls are being triaged by our limited duty officers to handle by phone. This program has shown success in reducing workload on our patrol officers, easing the burden of staffing shortages, and decreasing wait times. You know, we've always had 311. In layman's terms, the difference here is we would have officers in 311 waiting for someone to call them to file a report. What we've done is we've given those officers access to the 911 dispatch information, so they actively triage waiting jobs. So if you call 911, you're waiting for a report, you may possibly get a call from a light duty officer saying, it's gonna be a little bit of time till a car can get there. Can I maybe help you on the phone? What can we do right now? Which, again, although our civilian dispatchers are great, they're not police officers, it's something they don't have the ability to do. So having light duty officers and giving them these tools and the ability to triage reduces the workload on the road. This is a start, but we must continue to bring these numbers down. And while these partnerships with other law enforcement agencies are important, we must fill the gaps within our own ranks. We continue to have an unprecedented number of vacancies to fill. In response, we have completely revamped our recruitment efforts and have begun the workforce development program spearheaded by Sergeant Justin Collins. This program has approximately 100 participants that volunteer on their own time for weekly programming, learning what it takes to be a Rochester police officer. And not only that, they're volunteering in the community on their own, working in rec centers, charitable events, attending outreach events with us. Just last night, there were some workforce development members in an outreach. This is reinvigorating this department's history of engagement. As a result of those recruitment efforts, we had 798 applicants for our fall exam, a nearly 50% increase of 367 from 2021. Not only have our overall number of candidates risen, but the number of minority candidates has risen as well. Our current academy class of 24 recruits is nearly 50% people of color. We are no longer waiting for people to come to us. We are actively seeking the kind of people we want to be Rochester police officers, and we are encouraging them to apply and helping them develop the skills to successfully be hired. As we move into 2023, we pledge to not only build upon 2022's anti-violence efforts, but to build our relationship with the members of the community. I am pleased to have brought on board Deputy Chief Keith Stith to head the Community Affairs Bureau. Deputy Chief Stith comes to us from New Jersey, where he has an extensive background in building police-community relationships in an urban policing environment. Under the leadership of Deputy Chief Stith, the Community Affairs Bureau is expanding community partnerships with all of our residents, including those new to our community, with the New American Initiative. He is rebuilding street-based efforts such as PACTAC and the Youth Advisory Council, while at the same time engaging our major community stakeholders such as Wegmans, Xerox, Bausch & Lomb, and many other businesses that call Rochester home. This also includes an internship program developed in association with, yes, the Rochester City School District. This internship program will see our officers engaging with youth in the school district that are interested in law enforcement careers. During spring recess this year, interested middle school students from the Rochester School District will be given the opportunity to learn about law enforcement careers such as operations, canine, and community engagement. In a true community policing approach, we are working with the owners of establishments in the East End Entertainment District to improve and promote public safety. This is a new pilot program that, again, we've only just recently assigned an officer to. Every month, we are meeting with the entertainment district leaders to address public safety concerns, develop standards fitted for policing in a nightlife environment, and continue to build and foster relationships to make the entertainment district a safer place. We've begun a homeless outreach initiative spearheaded by Captain Gabe Person. These efforts, although they started downtown, have expanded to other areas of the city where police officers partner with outreach, go out, try and address the homeless and provide them services. We're continuing to build our relationships with our other law enforcement agencies as well. The Rochester Police Department is honored to have been selected as just one of 6 sites in the nation to be accepted into the Department of Justice's Public Safety Partnership Program this year. This is a collaboration of law enforcement agencies across the nation that work together not only to identify training and logistical needs, but enacting a solution to fill those needs. For example, they will be sending a team out in the near future to evaluate and look at how we handle our non-fatal shooting investigations, comparing those to other departments in the partnership, to see if there are any other programs that have had success rates that maybe we can borrow from. As we continue to move into 2023, the Rochester Police Department pledges to harness the power of cooperation and coordination to hold those that bring violence to our community accountable for their actions. We are ready and willing to partner with anyone that wants to join hands with us to make our community a safer place. And I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you to the men and women of the Rochester Police Department for all your continued efforts. Despite the incredible amount of violence spread against you this past year, you continue to persevere and show your true dedication to the residents of the city. And I have to thank their families who send their loved ones into work every day, not knowing what dangers they may face. I'd like to hand it over to the mayor, without whose support all of this would not be possible. Mayor Evans?
Thank you. Thank you, Chief, and I want to thank the men and women of the Rochester Police Department for their work this past year and for the work that they are going to do in 2023. We know that it was a tough year last year, losing Anthony Mazurkiewicz right in the beginning of last year, losing 14-year-old Julius Greer, and the many other homicide victims that we lost throughout that year. Many of the folks that we lost, I consider it to be senseless. And I think the chief made a great point. Almost all of the homicides that we had last year, almost all of them, were the results of sometimes just petty arguments and disputes. Although it was mentioned in the case of Anthony Mazurkiewicz, a more elaborate case of individuals who thought that they could come to the city of Rochester and wreak havoc. And we said, no, we are not going to tolerate that. And going forward into this coming year, we will not tolerate that. I am very gratified, not satisfied, but gratified that shootings are down. And although we're not popping any champagne and celebrating, it is important to note that fact. Because shootings are down because we worked collectively. The Rochester Police Department did not just say it was me, but we. That is our mantra in the city, that we cannot do this alone. So shootings are down because we worked collectively. Homicide victims, while still too high, are also down. So again, I am gratified but not satisfied. And we will never be satisfied until we have no homicides, because any life lost is a life too many. However, we will stop and pause and call out when we are seeing progress. Because when you call out and talk about the progress that you are seeing, that then fuels the hope in your tank that you need to be able to propel yourself forward. So we are grateful for that. But the Rochester Police Department also understands that they cannot do this alone. And this is why we have a comprehensive approach as it relates to public safety: prevention, intervention, and suppression. And that's why our partners in the Office of Violence Prevention Services, our partners in the Department of Recreation and Human Services, all of them play a critical role in helping to ensure that when a police officer is on the scene, that they are not coming to a homicide, because it is too late then. So we are also looking at ways in which we can prevent violence before it happens. And you see that prevention in the number of illegal guns that have been taken off the streets. You see that prevention in the number of high-risk search warrants that have taken dangerous criminals off the streets before they can perpetuate a crime and perpetuate havoc in our community. We will continue to need the community support as we go forward. I also want to say that we have been transparent. The open data portal that we have with the Rochester Police Department, that gives you data almost immediately on homicides, where they happened, who they were, and all of that particular information. That transparency will continue. I also want to say that our approach to violence has not been to try to spread police officers like peanut butter. We have been strategic in focusing on individuals in areas where we have people that carry illegal guns, that are persistent predicate felons, and if the current system fails them, we have worked with our federal partners to make sure that we have helped them federally. And the chief mentioned that, and that has been extremely important. So I want to thank the ATF, the U.S. Marshals, the U.S. Attorney's Office, and we're going to continue to need their help going forward. We just don't want this to be a stopping point. We need to continue this joint efforts between all of our law enforcement agencies, Monroe County Sheriffs, across locally and nationally, to help us deal with the most violent citizens. I also want to commend the chief on the workforce development program and the officer wellness program. Police officers deal with high levels of stress. That is why this wellness program is so very important. And it's why we must continue to support it. And if we are going to train the next generation of police officers, we have to make sure we find ways to get them interested in the career. So the workforce development is also extremely, extremely important. I also just want to add, before I turn it back over to the chief, that we have here, it's online, some of the reporters have it. If you don't have it, Barbara or Patrick will get it to you. This is our approach to public safety. So when people ask what we are doing, this is what we're doing. This includes all of our approach to public safety: prevention, intervention, and suppression. It's online. You have it in your arms. We believe that if we stay the course, we will continue to see a reduction in numbers. We believe that as we have built back in the last year and a half police-community relations, that we will continue to see a reduction in the numbers of violent instances that have affected our community. We can't do this alone. The police department does not operate in isolation. City Hall does not operate in isolation, and that is why we will continue to partner with our community organizations, Peace Collective, et cetera, et cetera. We've rolled these all out throughout the year. So while we're not declaring victory today, we are declaring progress. And I was taught that when there is progress, you must have that. And as Frederick Douglass said, without struggle, there is no progress. And Lord knows, in 2022, we had lots of struggle. But the progress will continue because we will work together collectively to help transform our city. So thank you, Chief. Thank you to the command staff and all the men and women of the Rochester Police Department, and all of the citizens of Rochester who have raised their hand and said that they are interested in helping to make our community a better place. Thank you.